Today, let's talk about 7 common mistakes when choosing a workspace or office location. Number 1 mistake, and this is literally the number 1 mistake, is paying more attention to looks than productivity. And me being in the fashion industry, I'm a total victim of this. I'm worried about what the space looks like. It's kind of like a girl's outfit. You're worried about what you're wearing instead of how it functions. It's the same thing when you're dealing with an office space or choosing where you want to work. You want to pay more attention to how productive it can be than what it actually looks like. Although being visual is important, it's more important to be productive. Number 2 is letting the excitement of your new space cloud your judgment. One of the problems with leasing a commercial space is they start upping your lease after year 1. Year 2, it's even more. Year 3, it's even more. So you have to really gauge your business and make sure you can afford that and negotiate those terms, because they're hoping that your business grows so much that you'll just agree to these terms and you'll agree to pay more because they make more money. So I rented a storefront in downtown LA. It was my first retail store. It was beautiful. I did it on a budget. It still looked amazing. I had the pink glitter floors. My name was at the top. It was a Kelly Nishimoto. Everything seemed exciting. I had red chandeliers. And this was my first time having a storefront. So what happened? I didn't prepare. I didn't prepare for the lease I signed. I didn't prepare for the merchandise. This is a case where I got too excited and I let my excitement cloud my judgment for where my business really was. So what happened? After 2 years, I had to close my storefront. I couldn't afford the rent. It sounded like a great deal, but year 2, it went up. And then year 3, my rent almost doubled from $1,700 to $2,500. And when your business is in the dumps, you can't afford that. So you really have to make sure that you're choosing and negotiating the right rent for your business growth. Number 3, not preparing for enough space or over preparing for space. You really have to be super realistic on gauging the growth of your business. For instance, if you think you're growing at a rapid rate and you feel like you need more space, maybe it's a better option to have 2 small spaces instead of just completely moving out of the small space and getting this giant space that overtakes everything. Because what might happen? Your business could be at a crossroads. Maybe you're preparing to sell. Maybe you might have to downsize because you're taking on a different project that goes in a different direction. You never know what's going to happen to your business, especially when you're young, or maybe you've been in it for so long, you just think you might take a different direction. Better to get 2 spaces than 1 big space, because you can always downsize if needed. Problem is when you move into a giant space, you're so excited and overwhelmed, and then your business takes a hit all of a sudden. You're not prepared, it's unexpected, and then you have to downsize. And when you downsize a big space into a tiny space, it kills your spirit, man. I've been there, I've done that. I had a beautiful 5,000 square foot live workspace. I lost $1 million contract, and business was just in the dumps. So what did I have to do? I had to close the entire space and move into something that was about 1/4 of the size. But had I done what I just said, which is rent the 2 spaces until you're absolutely sure, I would have still had my beautiful small office space, and I could have just had a secondary small office space that could have later been dumped when I didn't need it anymore. The 4th mistake is not assessing your visual needs. And what I mean by that is, what type of presence do you need to convey? Are you seeing clients? Is it just you with 1 employee? What is going on in your business that constitutes what type of space you have? So for instance, I'm a clothing designer, so it's cool to have like a dingy warehouse space that you roll up into kind of a creepy parking lot, but then you open the garage doors and it's all these amazing fabrics and leggings. But hey, if you're selling life insurance or you're in the financial services business, you can't have a client roll into that. You need it can be small, you just need a clean and professional space that gives you credibility. So you need to decide your visual needs based on your business and your customers, and if they're coming to see you and who's coming to see you. I'm in the fashion business, and my business is based out of Los Angeles. I just moved everything actually closer to home, which is Canoga Park, Woodland Hills area. We call it the Valley. I was downtown where all the action is, all the contractors, but it was better for my quality of life that I moved to closer to my house. So I got a warehouse space, which isn't right for everyone, but as a creative person in the fashion industry, you go into a dingy warehouse space, and it's almost cool. So that's the vibe I like to have. I like to have kind of an unexpected, what is this? I might get killed rolling up in your parking lot. But then you open the garage door and it's literally a legging fantasy land. I love white walls, pink carpets, pink glittery floors. The color pink, it just does something to me. I can't explain it. It's a certain hue, the glow, the warmth of it. It really, it sends something, some signal from my toes up to my brain and just makes me feel like I'm at home. So my workspace has pink glowing lights. I love fun, silly things. It's important for me to have a giant coffee maker, so whatever the latest coffee espresso machine is, I have it. I have pink cutting tables to cut fabric. You know, all my girls have a brand new laptop or a Mac, and I'm all about the big screens, and I like having a fun space. You know, you just have to figure out what makes you feel good, and you take all these little elements, and they don't have to be expensive. I mean, IKEA exists these days. You've got Home Goods, you've got Target with a great home section. Just get the little fun things, like a light up I love tacos sign, and put it in your office and feel good about going to work every day and smile when you walk in. The fifth mistake is not knowing your budget. Budget is so extremely important. If you don't have a budget, you don't rent a workspace. It's plain and simple. You have a house, you have an apartment, you need to carve out a corner or a section, a piece of your kitchen. I mean, I don't know, turn the bathroom into a workspace if it's big enough, but you want to have a designated workspace that fits your budget. My first workspace was actually my garage. You know, my roommate at the time, I said, hey, look, I really need a workspace. Can you get your damn car out of the garage so I can turn it into something? And I took it seriously. You know, I wanted to go in there and feel inspired. So I cleaned up all the oil from the floors. I put some cool little carpet remnants in there. I hung a chandelier up. I did some crazy wood stuff to the walls. I stained things. I was just like a regular jack of all trades when I was doing that. I put my sewing machines in, had my computer, and voila. I prepared for my first 2 Mercedes-Benz Fashion Weeks. Full-on 40 to 60 piece collections with runway models, the photographers, the whole gamut, celebrities on the front row, and I pretty much made everything out of my garage. That's the way you do it when you're starting out and you need to have a big presence. It's more important to spend money on your product and your marketing than it is for your space, because no one's looking at your space except for you and your one intern when you're first starting out. So keep it minimal, keep within a budget, and stick to it. Mistake number 6 is probably something you don't really care about or think about until it's too late, and that's being a respectful tenant. Trust me, when you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, there's nothing better you can do than to be a respectful tenant. Why? Because they're gonna wanna do more for you if you need something. Do you need something repaired? If you're a respectful tenant or you pay your rent a couple of months in advance, you're gonna be the first on the list that they help. Do you need to downsize? Do you need to grow your business? They're gonna help you with discounts, and they're just gonna go above and beyond. If you go above and beyond to show that you're respectful and you appreciate your space, you know, hopefully in return, they're gonna do that for you should you need something. I like to pay my rent 2 or 3 months in advance. Why? Okay, well, first of all, it makes me a respectful tenant and they appreciate my business and they know that I'm paid up for a couple months. They don't have to worry about me. But what it does for me is it kind of alleviates me writing a check all the time every month, you know, so I'm paying my bills 4 times a year instead of 12 times a year. It's kind of a way where I save myself a little bit of time and the other person is happy as well. The 7th mistake, which everyone loves to do, and that's do not take shortcuts when you are deciding on a space that's building your business. Everyone wants to try to paint their own space. Why would you do that? You can hire someone for a couple of $100s to come in and paint your space exactly as you want it. Because this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna go to Home Depot, it takes you a couple of hours, you're buying the paint, the rollers, oh, what do I need? How do I tape it off? You go back, you paint your space, there's paint everywhere, you've ruined the floors, it's uneven, you got a splotch on the ceiling, and then you're wishing you had hired someone, right? So now you end up hiring someone. They have to correct your mistake and repaint, and you've spent 2 to 3 times as much money when you should have just hired someone in the first place. So don't take shortcuts on your space. If it needs a professional, just use the money and hire the professional. Otherwise, you're gonna have a space that looks like a kindergarten project, and you don't want that when you have clients coming to visit you. Those are 7 mistakes that you gotta look out for when you're finding a workspace or an office space. Hey, I wanna know what your office space looks like, so why don't you tweet me a picture of your space at Kelly Nishimoto, and don't forget to subscribe to Valuetainment because our goal is to get to 1 million subscribers.